So hello everyone, welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Dynamics 365 Security and Licensing Updates, What You Need to Know. I'm Sebastian Anderson with the Licensing and Database Desk here at Avantico. As of September 1st, Microsoft's licensing enforcement has begun. These are uncertain times. Everything from official reporting tools to key facts and figures have been shifting left and right. In this brave new world, staying up to date on the details is essential. And to guide us through the changes and their implications, we have Morten Løgstrup, our Director of Customer Engagement, and Tatiana Subotin, our Licensing and Database Technical Lead. They'll be walking us through what Microsoft's enforcement means for D365 users, how to leverage Azure Telemetry insights to review actual user behavior and right-size license allocation, what's new in D365 user security and governance, how to audit your current license usage and roles, real-world examples of how clients avoided thousands in unexpected licensing costs, and finally, there will be a live Q&A as well as a special limited-time licensing assessment offer for attendees. Morten will be taking over shortly, but before we dive into today's session, I'd love to share some of the other exciting webinars and events we have coming up. First, on September 23rd at 10 a.m. Pacific, join us for Freight Invoice Automation. Boost ROI with automated reconciliation in Dynamics 365, Finance and Supply Chain Management. In this session, we'll show how our solution for automating freight reconciliation within Dynamics 365 helps recover lost revenue and eliminate manual audit bottlenecks while integrating seamlessly with your TMS. Learn how to gain real-time visibility, catch hidden overcharges, and bill back clients or carriers with confidence. Then, on October 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific, we will be hosting another licensing webinar similar to our show today, covering any important changes and updates between now and then. And finally, on October 28th, 10 a.m. PST, don't miss AI Builder plus Power Automate, a new era of process automation. Learn how Microsoft's AI Builder combines the capability of artificial intelligence with the flexibility of Power Platform, unlocking intelligent workflows, automating repetitive tasks, and adapting to your business needs. You'll see the game-changing impact of this tech through real customer use cases and get practical guidance on creating AI workflows tailor-made for your requirements. We will have more events and webinars added to the calendar, so do be on the lookout for those. And be sure to let us know in the chat if there's anything you'd really like to see from us in the future. All registration links for these events will be available in the chat, on our website, and within this slide deck. One last note. As we go through this presentation, do not hesitate to pop any questions you have into the chat, and we will address them in the open Q&A section of the webinar or in direct email follow-up. And with that, Morten, take it away.
Thank you, Sebastian, and welcome everybody. Today we are going to take a little look at some of the announcements and some of the changes that actually happened the last 6-7 days, and also give you some information into what we are thinking will be announced starting on September 23rd, which is, I believe, Tuesday or something like that. For those who have seen the kind of the standard D365 security and licenses tool, take some coffee or something. We will walk over that in like 5 minutes, maybe less. Then we will go into the more advanced, show you some deliverables, advanced assessments. And then Tatiana will do some telemetry and user security governance demoing based on some recent updates and changes to the toolset, and also learning from some of the engagements that we have going. But let's jump into it, and feel free to drop questions in the chat, and we will do our best to do some stops throughout the webinar. If we don't get to all the questions, we normally take them back and then send you direct answers afterwards. So don't hesitate to drop either an email, drop it in the chat, or something like that, and we will get to it. Okay, so I actually had 3 pages with announcement or changes. The previous 5 webinars, I think we kept it to 1 page. But what we have been preaching based on the Microsoft information has been the notification banner to all users without the proper licenses. What we have heard through some forums and some calls, it's not confirmed, is that date has been pushed to October 1st because our customers from Australia to Hawaii, or actually the other way around, Europe, UK, US, and so on, none of them have yet to see the notification banner for the users. And we are also testing it ourselves. So maybe in 2 weeks' time, we are actually getting that notification banner that was supposed to be pushed out on September 1st. The enforcement is still the November 1st. We are expecting to hear some update from Microsoft next week. I have a slide with some of that, but it hasn't changed the fundamentals that everybody need to be correctly licensed. So that's kind of the key takeaway. If Microsoft are doing or keeping to November 1st, there's only 32 business days left. So depending on how far you are, you should definitely get started. It's the same applications. Nothing have changed since last time. There is still a few unknowns, and we are constantly running into smaller reporting bugs and discrepancies between the different reports in the different Power Platform Admin Center, LCS, and then D365. Tatiana will show you some of that later. So if you have or if you're running into any discrepancies, feel free to drop them in the chat or send us an email, and we might have seen similar cases. In cases where there is discrepancies, we normally create a support ticket for the customers we are working with, because that's currently the only way Microsoft are fixing those issues. But we do know from the licensing and security team, I think actually they have another name, but they have received a massive amount of feedback from partners and customers. So it's going to be pretty exciting what they are actually announcing next week. One thing that I want to highlight, if you are familiar with the D365 licensing guide, in August and September, there was some pretty significant changes that bumped up a lot of users from activity to full users. And as you can see here, the top one is from the August licensing guide. It was specifically related to the purchasing categories. So if you did some adjustment before August, please check your different reports again and see if you need to do more refinement of the security roles, or if you can actually live within the team and activity member. But we have seen many customers needing more licenses after the 2 recent changes. The last kind of and probably most important announcement. So from a partner perspective, Microsoft moved a licensing call from September 9 to September 23rd. We don't know why, other than they are probably very, very busy, and a lot of customers are sending them feedback. So next week, we are going to hear more about timeline tools and grace periods and so on. That is 100% going to be very important webinars for partners, so that we can inform customers like you. We also know, as of this morning, that the FAQ that you are most likely familiar with, we have shared it previously. There's also a link later on, and maybe Sebastian or Jacob, you can share the link in the chat. But it's going to be updated within the next couple of days, probably Monday, Tuesday. So keep an eye out of that, because there's a lot of really good information related to grace periods, to the what should you do and so on, but also most importantly, the timelines. Sebastian mentioned, I think I have an error here in October 28. But if you are interested in knowing what Microsoft are telling us from a partner perspective on the 23rd, then reach out, schedule like a 15-30 minute call, and we are happy to provide as much information as we can. Normally what's happening, it's a 1 hour show from Microsoft that are sharing changes, tools, improvements, known issues, and so on, and we can pass that along to anyone that would be interested in that. Okay, Sebastian, any questions in the chat?
Looks like we're clear so far. There will be other chances for questions later, and if any do occur to you, please feel free to put them in the chat.
Perfect. So we covered this last time, so I'll definitely speed up. But Sebastian, don't hesitate to stop me if someone is asking questions. But the licensing spanner, it's still happening, most likely October 1st. That's what we know now. This is just again to confirm we are still receiving emails that November 1st, October 31st is the enforcement date. So nothing new when it comes to that. When we are looking, oh, come on, let me jump here. There you go. When we are looking to the tools and reporting overview, there has been no new tools introduced since we hosted the fifth webinar. So important licensing validation will still happen. It's only for production environments, for your production environments. If you have multiple tenants with multiple production environments, keep a lookout for that, because you need multiple licenses if you have multiple tenants. Admins are still not charged. There's actually some good explanations in the FAQ around the service account and the admins. Device licenses, there's no new information, so that is most likely pushed out to early 26 when they are going to enforce that. The same with storage, and what we are seeing again and again is actually a lot of ISVs are driving up many of the licenses, especially after the recent change. So check with your ISVs, check your impact or what they are impacting, because that could require a good amount of work. There's still the same at the admin center where you can assign the licenses. You have the user security governance, which is the go forward tool for analyzing and so on. And you have lifecycle services where you also have to update your subscription estimator after you purchase new licenses. It's recommended to check it at least, I would say, every 6 months, because it impacts your performance and your production infrastructure and so on and so forth. And then you have the Power Platform Admin Center that everybody should be pretty familiar with. No changes to the reporting. You can still find it in the license consumption in LCS. It's very straightforward. You can see how many licenses you have. You can see how many that have been assigned, and it refreshes give and take every 24 hours. So when you make changes, don't be nervous. Give it a day or a little bit more, and you should see the new changes reflected in the system. The same for Power Platform Admin Center. Not a lot of changes from a UI perspective. It's still the one we saw in the previous period is actually this one. Sorry. So that should help you also with some drill down related to who need what and why they need it. But all this has been been out for the last couple of months. So I don't think there's any questions to that. Sebastian?
No, nothing so far.
Good.
Yeah, and the view you're seeing here where the total users requiring a license being listed, that is the most up-to-date view. So that's what you should be seeing in your environment. Good.
Perfect. Database, there's no changes to that. There's still the same entitlement you get with your licenses. So if you are over your entitlement, as soon as you add the licenses, you'll get more entitlement. So go in, and we have seen the report actually updating way faster. So if you add licenses right now, it takes only a couple of hours before it's reflecting in the Power Platform Center. At least that's my experience. You still do have a lot of insight into what's driving the database. But for Microsoft, and I mentioned that last time, that it's a priority, but it seems like the licensing enforcement on the D365 side is first priority, and then the capacity is second priority. We have seen a good amount of enterprise or EA customers or customers with EA agreements having to do something about the database capacity ahead of their anniversary date or the renewal date. So if you have anything coming up, I do recommend checking it because there is some low-hanging fruits that we have seen from other customers, and then there's definitely also some heavy lifting that need to be done. All depends on how your database tables are and so on and so forth. But there's still the same tools available. We have taken some different approaches in order to help our customers reduce it, because it is impacting performance, and nobody want a massive extra licenses bill. Prices are the same, and so there's nothing changed on that front. Any questions, Sebastian?
So far, we are clear.
Perfect. Okay, we are jumping over to the more advanced analysis, and this has actually changed since the announcement back in May due to the different tools available, but also the reporting, and so we're covering a little bit of that right now. And this is a service Avantico offer if you are new to the call. But what we hear from a lot of customers, the existing tools, they are very, very difficult to work with. That's kind of 95% of all customers, and we are conveying that to Microsoft. With the massive changes on the licensing guide and over on the D365 side, it just adds complexity to it. If you have many security roles, custom roles, many users, and so on and so forth, it can be a pretty challenging task to analyze and figure out the delta, but also figure out what should you actually change in order to not purchase or not needing to purchase a lot of licenses. Tatiana will look into some of the telemetry. We are still enabling it for customers, and I cannot emphasize enough. Please enable your telemetry, because that is like a extremely important tool or data insight tool that we are using and that you can use in order to understand your user behavior, which is going back to the security or the license security role model. So enable telemetry if you haven't done it. We can help you with it, but it's important that you do it because it's not backdated. So if we enable today, you won't get historic insight into your user behavior. When we deliver a advanced analysis or a more comprehensive analysis, we do hand over a lot of detailed reporting. The latest was 101 page, I believe. So a lot of data, and you can also use it as a, hey, we are working on the different topics in your conversation with Microsoft, but also with your executive team or whoever may be interested in this. We are providing a very comprehensive breakdown of the different users and recommendations, why these should not have existing roles and what you can do. We can also help you, as mentioned, enabling telemetry. Sebastian, you could probably drop a link in the chat, because most of our customers, they can do it 95 to 100%. So it's pretty straightforward. If you need help, just ping us and we can guide you through it. It's the same as we saw last time. It's just an example of a report. We are providing a ton of recommendations all the way down to the individual user, so that your team can apply the recommendation or changes as much as you're comfortable with. If you need help, of course, we can also step in. But we're doing a lot of analyzing, and it probably comes back to the tools being a little bit difficult to work with for most customers. The process, I shared that previously. It's the same. Nothing have changed. We are analyzing a little bit more actually, so it's probably taking a little bit longer than the 6 to 7 business days, because there is just a lot of changes that are impacting your analysis. And as mentioned, it was a 101-page document last time. It just takes a little bit longer for us to wrap it up and make sure that everything is correct before we are handing it over. The process is the same. If there's any questions, let us know. Sebastian, were there any questions?
On that point, none so far.
Perfect. Okay. Yep. And here's our promotion. We are still running it, and I would just say that we just need to change a couple of licenses from full to activity or full to team, and then you have your ROI. But most important, the report can be used for auditing and also for your team to learn the new security and governance tool. So there's actually a fair amount of training included. But with that, I want to hand it over to Tatiana so that she can show you some of the things that we have worked with since we had the previous webinar.
And with that, Tatiana, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello. Do you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you, Andre, for this comment. I noticed this too, that I will start from the comments, because this comment is one of those things that I noticed also, that the ISV menu items are not labeled, right, valued by Microsoft, so not taken into account in the license calculation yet, probably yet, because they used to be part of the license calculation. Now they are a little bit out of scope. So I guess it's just a matter of time, right? We may get back to ISV and everything else taken into account again. So that's a valuable point. What I'm going to show you today, guys, we should show something new every time, right? So I will quickly repeat what we usually show, and then during this security analysis all the time, of course, we come across interesting findings. I will try to show as much as possible. So what we usually let me go through our regular stuff. What we pay attention to when we analyze our licenses. Of course, security analysis report, which is part of the security governance. This report is located in system administration section. As I said, under the security governance, it's going to be your security analysis report. If you haven't activated the features, please go ahead and activate them. Everything what's related to security, you will need them. So this report, what's new? There is actually nothing new in this report, rather than I came across quite interesting finding recently. Some developers, for some reasons, when they duplicate the roles, they don't change the role name. So the role name, they keep the same role name. So they duplicate the employee, they keep the employee role label the same, while the identifier is different behind the scenes, right? So it complicates our analysis. This is why we added to our analysis, and I just encourage you to do the same. We added to our analysis 4 more fields that we require from our customers when they export data. The fields are related to the identifiers. They are available, and if you add them to this report, you will see the names that are assigned to the secureable things like roles, duties, privileges, and sub-roles. we can tell the roles apart. When the roles have the same names, we can tell them apart, right? We know this, even Microsoft does this on the privilege and duty level. So the privileges sometimes have the same labels, so the same user-friendly names, while the identifier is different. So if you get to the point when you need to analyze your security, and all of a sudden you see that two objects like roles, duties, privileges have the same names, the identifier will help you in this screen. This is not new actually, but it's new in terms of how we analyze data, right? And these identifiers will help you a lot. This is one point. So how are we going to use it? As I said, if we have telemetry, it's an absolutely different story. So when we don't have a telemetry, we get probably like 30% of the information from the analysis effort. It's like your report is like 10 times less than the one with the telemetry. Why? Because the telemetry gives us another angle, and we can analyze data from the utilization perspective. Here we can go with the assumption what's common, what's not common. So doing this on a daily basis and still doing it as a hobby, right, Morten? It's still our hobby. So doing this on a daily basis, we realized that certain things are absolutely uncommon, and we bring it up. Let's say you configured a role, and you configured a role for a buyer. You tried to limit access to everything, and all of a sudden you give full access to the vendor transactions. This is a real example. And you didn't even realize that you gave an access to the vendor transaction, but believe it or not, we pay attention to this. So the vendor transaction, it's kind of a segregation of duties, right? The buyer shouldn't have full access to the vendor transactions. View only is fine, but full access, probably not good. And such things are pop up. They are visible in this report. So you can analyze your report from the utilization perspective. However, what you are missing here, right? What we are missing here? We're missing the license. We used to have the license here. We don't have it anymore, and that's a quite interesting effort to restore the license. We do it. We analyze the licenses from the other requirements, from the other tables, and we restore the license. And since right now the license, not right now, it was always like this, but we never paid attention to this. So the license is working as a set of your available menu items, right? If the same menu item is in one role and it is included in the one role, and in the second role, it's counted once. So this menu item can require a license, full license, let's say finance license. The same menu item in the second role is not going to require, like it's not going to be counted. It means that like the same menu item sometimes can require finance license or supply chain license, so it can be equal, right? This is something what we used to have as an operation. It used to be marked as an operation, right? It can be finance or supply chain. So right now, if it's counted as a finance, the role related to the supply chain that has the same license is not going to be this item is not going to be counted in the second role, so it's counted once. This is why when we restore the licenses, it's quite interesting. So it's not a real picture. I mean, it's a grounded picture. So it's specific to this company. It's specific to this configuration. So the other company can have the same menu item marked as a finance item, while this company, this client, can have a menu item marked as a supply chain item. So there is no clear unique license assignment. It's always related to the client configuration. So that's the first report. The second report, there is nothing changed in the second report that we usually take into account. It's a a user activity agent report. User activity agent report, another one, an amazing report that gives you an idea when each user accessed Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations via UI, and it also can give you a breakdown, like agent breakdown, how many times within the last 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, 183, and 365. So sometimes we can make a decision on these users, whether this user is still active or non-active. Can we deactivate this user? Can we downgrade the user roles if the user doesn't show any activity, but we know that the user should be active because once in a blue moon, the user needs to access Dynamics. Then we can assign view-only roles to this user and leave this user with the team member license. There is an exception. There are a bunch of users, and we see more and more, who access Dynamics via different connectors. We can talk about warehouse management app, warehouse mobile devices. We can talk about CRM. We can talk about Power Apps. We can talk about other different integration points. When we need to keep the user active and we need to provide certain roles to the user, even though the user doesn't log in through the UI, this is kind of an exception, right? So these exceptions, they are very they are specific to your company, and you need to keep it in mind. Even though the user is inactive, the user is probably active in CRM, and the user is still accessing Dynamics 365 through CRM, but it's invisible in this report. So that's one exception that we always keep in our mind. The next report, that's our main report right now, license usage summary report. The preview label disappeared, means that the report is live. And what's new about this report? Again, nothing new. I cannot say if this report became more accurate or not. If you noticed any inaccuracy, of course, it should be this news should be delivered to Microsoft. However, all we need to know here is entitlement. So entitlement, how it works, right? We have one user, this CRM test user, who would be a finance guy if he didn't have 427 supply chain related menu items in his roles, in the user's roles. This is how we read it, right? So this user, human resource, sorry, not supply chain, human resource. So this user requires finance and human resource, but if we do something about these 427 menu items, this user will be a pure finance. And we can find these 427 menu items by filtering. So we are selecting finance, right? And we're filtering not entitled items. Right now we have 427 non-entitled items. We know that these items, I'll show you that it's 427, actually. 427. So these items belong to for human resource related roles, and these items require human resource license. You can ask me, like if I open up the human resource role, Does it mean that like the human resource role that is assigned to this user, does it mean that this role has only 427 items, menu items that require a full license? No, it does not. The human resource role, may have more than 427 items, but those items are common with the finance role, so they have the same items, right? And they are counted as finance ones. They are not counted as human resource. So if it's the same menu item included in two roles, one is counted as finance, another one is counted as human resource. Here, it's entitled. So I mean, the second appearance of the same menu item is not counted as a human resource anymore. So on its own, the human resource role will have more entitled items, but in the combination, it's only 427. And the most common request from our clients is, what should I do to get rid of human resource license? In this case, we do exactly what I said. We select the first line. We are getting rid of the 427. We are filtering by not entitled. We are selecting all of these new items. We go select. We copy them, Control C, and then we go to the security analysis. We find these menu items here. We know the role, right? We do know the role. Oh, sorry. We find all of these 427 items. We filter by them. It takes time. Sorry, I cannot speed it up.
If only.
Yeah. It's a huge report. Sometimes it's 300,000 lines, 400,000 lines. We've seen over 1 million lines. So in our case, it's almost out of box. So it's not a big one. But anyway, so I filtered out those menu items, and now I need just to filter the role. I know which role is assigned to that user, right? So I filter the role, and then I have the list of the privileges, duties that require a human resource license. And sometimes the question is about just a few, like 4 or 5 menu items, something really simple, right? How to find it? We find this outstanding menu items in the security analysis report, and then we can recall this privilege or duty. We can make a decision. We can create a new privilege without this menu item, or maybe it is the way how it's supposed to be. Maybe this license is required. What can we do, right? In certain cases, there is nothing we can do. In most cases, of course, we can. So that's the user level. Same is applicable to the user role, but a little bit more complicated. The user role will show you quite a lot. It will show you that, let's see, I want to get an example. It will show you on the role level. And again, on the role level, we see that the user has this role and what kind of license this role requires, right? And sometimes we see 0. Does it mean that accounts payable manager is not a finance guy? No, it is a finance guy, but the license is counted once. It means that if you revoke accounts payable clerk from this user, then accounts payable manager will get number 1 here under the license quantity. But since we marked an accounts payable clerk as the counted, right? Then this guy, while it still requires finance license, it's not counted, kind of not counted, still counted, still finance. And same with the other roles. You see the other roles, like the other user and the other roles, sometimes you see 1, sometimes you see 0. what it doesn't show you here, what's attached, what's not, what's primary, what's not, right? This report doesn't show you which one is primary, which one is not, while this report does. This report shows you which one is primary, which one is. Oh no, this one also doesn't show you. I'll show you where you can see the primary, which one, like which role is the which license is the base license, which one is the attached license. Role license. People do their best. Like people really try to do their best to analyze roles, because when we are doing our analysis, we think through the roles, duties, and privileges. So we think, okay, if I optimize my role, I will save this number of licenses, because this role is assigned to, let's say, 100 people, and I will save 100 licenses. We do our best. So when you deal with the role license report, the assumption should be a little bit different. Let's say I'm trying to analyze my accountant. So the accountant, right? The first appearance of accountant is absolutely misleading. You see the commerce, you're like, how come accountant became a commerce, right? It was always a finance license. It would be, right? It would be a commerce if the accountant didn't have 1,582 not entitled licenses. It would be. So there is a huge delta. This is why when we analyze roles, I encourage people to think through the target. Like, let me select. I will take one of my roles that I create for different purpose. So let's say this one, a recent role we created for client. What kind of license is this? I don't know, but I would like this role to be a team member. Is it a team member? Yes, it is a team member. So if I want this role to be a team member, are there any not entitled menu items? And you see there is no not entitled menu items, then it's a team member. So we're going from target. If I saw, let's say, 2 not entitled menu items here, then it's not a team member. And I would be able to find those not entitled, again, by selecting and filtering by not entitled. And then I would be able to deal with this, like whether I'm going to keep them or I'm going to revoke them. So depending on what I'm going to do with this, right? So that's the report on its own. Same applicable to duties, same applicable to privileges. We just go one by one, and depending on the level, you analyze your configuration. What I like, what I personally like, is this table browser query. This table browser query is the same report. It seems like the same report. It's actually the underlying data for user role license. However, here I can see which one is counted as a base license, which one is counted as an attached license. Does it matter? No, it really doesn't. I would be able to flip them. I would be able to purchase a finance-based license and on the top add a supply chain attached license, right? And the result will be the same. However, it's quite interesting to see how, right. It's quite interesting to see how it works on the back. You can ask me, like, this is the same user. So the user has 1, 2, 3, how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. And the base license is finance, and the attached license is the human resource. And we know that the human resource is $135 versus finance $210. Can I buy the human resource and attach a finance license? The answer is no, you cannot. You cannot go. You cannot go this way. Morten, correct me if I'm wrong.
I do believe you are correct.
You're always right, Tatiana, most of the time.
That's right? Because it's an endless exploration. But we discussed this a few times, and the clients, of course, when they see the situation like this, they come with the proposal. Oh, can I buy, let's say, project license as a base license and add supply chain and finance on top? Unfortunately, you cannot, because Microsoft doesn't let us go with the cheaper license as a base license and add a more expensive license as an attached license. Another question that we usually get is, can I go with the CRM license, which is much, much cheaper, you know this, a CRM license, and add a finance license as an attached? No, you cannot, because it's the finance license is the most expensive one. You go with the finance as a base license and the CRM on the top as an attachment. So when you're looking at this report doesn't let you, it answers the questions that you can avoid, right? So can I go with a less expensive license as a base? No, you cannot. We are using this query for our analysis as a base, as a source data. And this query allows us to restore license in the security analysis report. What else? Also, we are using, it decided that I'm away. No, I'm not. Also, we are using the licensing privilege requirement detail view. It's another one. This is the query that is it's feeding privilege license report. How we are using this query, and you can use it too. So here you will see that each single line is marked with a license and entitled, not entitled. And in most cases, you can find that the same menu item has entitlement for commerce, for finance, for supply chain. This is exactly what I was talking about. Like, it can be one-off, right? And if I know that this menu item is included into the role, because this is a privilege level, right? But if it's included into the role and the role is finance, then I go with the finance entitlement, not the commerce, not the supply chain. I go with the finance. And I count this menu item as a finance for this particular client. That's what I mean when I'm saying that the same menu items can be different for different clients. This client can have a supply chain menu item, the same menu item, while this client can get the same menu item under finance license, because the same menu item is entitled for multiple licenses, can be, right? One off. This view is very helpful. What else? My recent finding, which made me upset, and maybe Andrea or somebody who is dealing with this for years and years can help me now. My recent finding is this: we recently, seems like we lost our ability to manage. No, not everywhere. Okay, so it's not everywhere. So in certain places we did lose, in certain places we did not. I found, and I don't know the pattern, but you may come across this too, that in certain places we lost our ability to manage our security on the data source and controls level. Why it's important? It's important because sometimes we are asked to disable certain fields on the form, certain fields. It means that we provide access to, let's say, to the purchase order line, but let's say the price is unavailable, or the unit of measure is unavailable for edit, or other fields are unavailable for edit, right? So that's the company policy. And we'll go with the company policy. In this case, we have to go to the data source level. So in certain cases, I noticed that, and I don't know the pattern, I'll be honest. I just noticed that in certain cases, we don't have access to the data sources anymore. Yes, I know the trick. You can revoke. If you don't have access, you can revoke the menu item and add it back, right? You remove the menu item, you add this back, and then you get access to much more things, something what was unavailable before. And in certain cases, this trick doesn't work anymore. Just an observation. What else is new to me? Telemetry. We talk about the telemetry recently a lot. So with some clients, we noticed that we have to activate custom traces and warehouse events to catch everything. So right now, we're like, my recommendation is to have all 5 active, because some entry points are not caught by the first 3. The configuration of the telemetry is available in lots of places. We posted our little article too, how to configure. And when you configure, you go to Azure, you go to application insights, you create your resource. This resource is not going to cost a lot for you, because first 5 gigabytes are free, so you could use it. And all you need to do is when the resource is created, you go to the log, monitoring log, and switch to your KQL mode from simple, and you run your little query. My query is getting less and less, so it's very short right now. It's all I need from this, right? I need the entry point, the date, who was this user, the ID, and the duration. All I need for my analysis, right? And then we run our reporting. So yeah, of course, as I mentioned before, we are doing this from day to day on a daily basis as our favorite hobby. So this report, the security analysis report, has changed a lot, because we are engaging different tables. Yeah, the active users table, the table that I showed you, the one that has attach and base license marked. So we use this one, and security user role association from the data migration entities. So that's the entity, and we restore the roles licenses. We restore the user role license, and we restore the other required reports. We analyze roles, user roles, and user assignment the same way. We take into account the current requirement for the system administrators, that the system administrator does not need a license at all. And the question is still not answered. What's going to happen to the service account that is not a system administrator, right? For example, you have a service account which is using certain functionality, like a purchasing functionality only. You probably have a Power Up, and you created a service account for the Power Up and assigned only a few privileges to this account, not through the role, of course. What's going to happen to this account? Does it require a license or not? So this question is still not answered. I would like to experiment, but we don't have any way to do. Maybe I will do some experiments. Maybe if we revoke the system user from this account and leave only the purchasing, maybe there is a way to avoiding a license. I have doubts, but this is still not answered. And our telemetry report. We asked recently, why do we need to dig into the data? Yes, so you calculate everything. That's fabulous. Like we calculate lots of reports. We show right now we show what's used, what's not. We say, okay, so this privilege has 0 users accessed, zero users accessed this privilege within the last 90 days, last 120 days. So people ask us, why do we need to dig into data? Okay, so to avoid it, we created a few dashboards that allow you to click on the slicers, whatever you're looking for, and get this information right away based on their calculated tables. We use it too. I use it personally because sometimes when we're creating our report, and it's a huge document, as Morten mentioned before, I need to play with data a lot, right? So sometimes I just like, okay, so show me finance. So show me the users who have finance assigned, but have never used it. I've never used it. Show me these people, and I get the list of the users right away, and I get details. What exactly? What exactly was there? Like, what roles, duties, and privileges were assigned to the users and have never been used? So it's a little bit like, we do it for ourselves and for our clients, make it easier. This is probably it. This is all for all I have to show today. I have for you to show today. And if you have questions, I guess we can still answer them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Tatiana. I think we have a minute or two
Right.
left. If there's any questions.
Yeah, I think one of the most prominent ones from Monica, thank you, seems to be around performance issues in the security governance feature after it's been enabled for clients with over 1,000+ custom roles. Is that something that we've seen a lot of, a performance degradation over a certain minimum set of data?
Performance of the environment?
Yeah, they seem to be having issues with the feature, perhaps in terms of it reporting correctly or loading too slowly or things like that.
The reports are slow, period. They are generally slow. They're not going to be I don't know, maybe there is a way to make them faster, but I haven't seen any client who wouldn't experience this issue. They are slow. Yeah.
So Monica, you're certainly not alone there.
No, each single client has the same issue.
Excellent. And then I also see you have your hand up, Monica. Is there something you'd like us to address directly?
Yeah, sorry guys. I think our problem was actually that it was literally timing out, so it would never load. It couldn't cope with the volume of data. We do understand that the client having 1,000 roles, custom roles isn't great. That shows other issues, but the fact that the tool was unusable was a concern because that limits your ability to analyze it and do further, go a little bit further than just using Power Platforms, looking at the breakdowns and the covered and not covered secureable items. So you kind of you are kind of limited now to dig through the standard security tools and find where the privileges, etc., which it was almost impossible. So yeah, that's something I wanted to just ask if you guys know anything about it. And the second thing was around the guest users and external users, where they are given additional roles and the impact on the Power Platform reporting, because I noticed that wasn't quite pulling through as expected.
Talking about guest users, yes, they will require licenses. It's true. We have the clients who have guest users as subcontractors, and they have they require the licenses. External guests, we're talking about the same. Talking about inability to analyze data, I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely. this is why I tried to show you how we deal with this. However, you can tell me like, okay, so you showed us just two roles. One is finance, another one is human resource, right? How about if there are three roles and then entitlement is mixed up, not entitlement is mixed up. This is a problem, really. I'll be honest with you. The three roles, you cannot play with this anymore. It's not clear when the two roles, like I can get rid of those 427 menu items and it's going to become a finance. How about this finance, human resource and supply chain, right? And I see numbers. So how can I find what's the intersection or what's the outstanding, right? This is what we are doing. So we are taking this, like we show that's common. This is why, like that's base, that's common. This is outstanding for each role. Yes, believe me, I go through the same nightmare every time. Like every time when we get something new, I go through the same nightmare, and we need to find a way. We found a way. Yes, we do. We did find a way. We found a way to tell the menu items apart and say this particular one requires a finance license because that's the configuration, And if we get rid of this, then the license is not required. There is a way. Like, how many days did I spend? Quite a lot. Yeah.
The answer always, when the tools break, the job gets harder.
Because you don't have any visibility. You still don't have any visibility.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a key point that we also conveying to Microsoft. They ask us for a specific report related to what issues and experience are we seeing customers are facing. So if you have anything you want us to bring to the table, don't hesitate to drop it here in the chat or send us an email directly. And we are doing our best to push as much as we can on getting your feedback incorporated to the Microsoft communication.
Mm-hmm. We do have a fast pass for getting tickets to them. So if you do have questions or things you would like us to lay out for them, please do not hesitate to email us.
Yeah. With that said, we are 4 or 5 minutes over. Thank you everybody for joining.
Yeah.
And have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, wherever you are.